session is on mobile interviewing. My name is Margot Royakkers, and here with me is Celiani Camargo Borges, and she has experience with mobile interviewing. Welcome, Celiani.
Thank you, Margot, for having me here.
Well, good to have you here. Well, let's start with the broad question. Mobile interviewing, what is it and how does it work?
Okay, so mobile interviewing, it's an interview in which you take your participant along the environment in which you are researching. So it's a way to explore better the environment, and as you talk to your participants, your interviewee, you can use elements of the environment to add on your questions to experience better the topic of your research.
So if you compare it to a regular interview where you sit down at a location, it's a quiet setting. Mobile interviewing, you go out to a surrounding, a context that has relevant stimuli in it, and you walk around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that sounds like fun. Is it a valid way of interviewing?
Well, this is a very interesting question and very important to place when we are discussing about research. You have the classical approaches on research in which is required to have a very controlled environment, a neutral researcher in order to guarantee the validity and the reliability of the research.
An item list normally?
An item list, a very quiet space. But we have also new approaches on research that are more innovative, and they claim that actually by the researcher, by entering a topic, he or she is already bringing their own curiosity, their own interest, and by the process of framing a question, there's already an invitation of answers. So anyways, you are not just collecting data, you are co-creating data with your participants.
Okay, but now it doesn't sound easy anymore.
Yeah.
It's more complex than a normal interview.
I would say that in this innovative approach on research, you actively take advantage of understanding that you are co-creating knowledge. So instead of creating this neutral and controlled environment, you take advantage of, let's see how it is out there in locus. Let's add the perspective of the participants into the conversation, so you can co-create data that's more useful for the purpose of your objective. So you actively do that.
But if you say co-create data, then who is in charge? Is that the interviewer or is it the interviewee?
Yeah, that is when you're talking about this paradigm of doing research, this approach, you have a less hierarchical position between the researcher and the researched, the interviewer and the interviewee. So they, as a researcher, as an interviewer, you can have an item list because you have your objectives. At the same time, the interviewee has also their own knowledge and they know about the importance of that topic you are researching. So it's more interactive, and actually they are more in charge when you are really in the place that they might work, they might live. So the place where you are researching, they are in charge. So you should be flexible and embrace their own approach on the topic, where they take you, where they move you along. You should always let this topic emerge.
Yeah, and if they take you along their environment, it's also a more natural setting then, a more natural process.
Yeah, it's a very natural process, and actually all the you turn upside down with the traditional approaches on interview. Everything that the traditional approach would call as a challenging, we call as an opportunity. So be in a very noisy or full of people place in a traditional research would be a problem, but in the mobile interview, this is another element that helps you understanding the place you are researching. So you should really welcome these voices. Maybe somebody comes by and start talking, you can also add them into the interview. You can ask a new question. So it's very natural, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared, but you should be very well prepared beforehand. So in the moment you have to trust the process and embrace what is emerging that might be important for your research.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Can you give us an example, for instance, for how it goes?
Yeah, sure. So it's very important to say here that in these innovative approaches on research, you are co-creating data, but it doesn't mean any kind of method is proper. So depend on your objective, you might choose one, and the mobile interviewing, you choose when the environment is very important for your research.
Yeah,
so one example is if you are researching an organization and you are very much interested about hierarchical positions of the employees, you can go there and invite, for example, one person from the organization to take you around and talk to you about hierarchies. And then you can kind of check or explore. If they're saying, for example, it's a very flat organization, but then you see that the whole structure of the building is place in which they divide managers at the top and employees, regular employees down, it's a chance for you to see firsthand this structure and have curious questions about it. So sometimes even the manager never realized that this might play a role. So as you collect the data, you are already doing some transformations in making participants reflecting about their own reality.
Okay. Well, that's a very different way of doing research if you compare it to the traditional way. What would you say are the benefits of mobile interviewing compared to the traditional way then? Or
I would say that one very powerful strength of mobile interviewing is that you really can experience the space that you are researching, and you can let it, because it's very spontaneous, so new elements emerges all the time that you don't know, and so you have the chance to see from close and to let this element play a role. So I would say it's very powerful for new ideas to emerge. So you're not just testing one research question, but you are also exploring, are there other things happening that I wouldn't see otherwise? So you are curious for new things to happen in your research. So it's flexible and not easy.
Not easy. It's a challenge, but it's worth the try because you get deeper insights in this way.
Yeah, and also just as a final thought, these innovative methods, they also bridge research with practice. So it's not just anymore doing pure research separate from practice, but in the process of investigating and understanding a place, an organization, you are already creating an intervention because you are putting people together to reflect, to walk around with you, to have new ideas. So it's a good way to connect research and practice together.
So if you're looking for social change, then this is a method you could go for because it fits.
It fits, not just about discovering knowledge, but also being useful for people you are researching with.
Yeah. Okay, clear. Thank you very much for this talk.
Thank you.
Hi, we are Laura and Eveline and we are students from the NHTV in Breda. And for the course process design we did a mobile interview.
Yes, and during that mobile interview we take Walter from the Boeimeer with us to get to know Boeimeer and what the different places in the neighborhood.